I mean, Simon, how much of a gamble is it? Arteta's stance, if you like, over the departing Aubameyang. I mean, they did the same with Ozil. A kind of authoritarian approach, is it one to admire or can it backfire?
I think if you're one-dimensional, there's nothing to admire about being one-dimensional. I think you have to be multifaceted in your approach to things. Some people need to be dealt with in a certain way. Some people need to be dealt with in another way. And if the path of least resistance, or more to the point, the path of where they are now has brought them to a situation where they can only deal with this player in one way, I don't think Arteta has sought out the biggest name in the dressing room and sought to put him in his place so that he can get the rest of the dressing room to follow in line with a new regime. There's a new sheriff in town, and here's the way we go. I think this player has brought it upon himself. Ozil was scandalous. His contribution to the team was preposterous for what he was remunerated on, and we shouldn't all make it about money, but unfortunately, tragically, for football clubs, you want to pay players what they think they're worth, then you ask them to do something simple like being worth what they're paid, and Ozil didn't want to do it, right? This guy, we had to watch that stupid, crappy egg timer for the whole month of August, telling us how much money we could all applaud him for getting, right?
That really annoyed you,
didn't
it?
Because he's going to get on with it. The world doesn't stop because all of a sudden you're going to get given even more money than you started with.
Yeah.
And then to have the audacity to come back and not perform at a level, and then we have to listen to every reason why he doesn't do it. And I find that difficult as a commercial man, as a person that loves his football, that owned a football club because I wanted to. It's not because I've got a vitriol attitude towards players. I have a vitriol attitude towards players that don't do what they should do.
I have some sympathy for Arteta, actually, because he didn't go looking for trouble. Trouble came to him. The ill discipline that continued, and sometimes as a manager, you've
got to be there to deal with it.
You can only react when the situations happen. I don't think he provoked them at all. I mean, you don't provoke ill discipline by having good, solid discipline at your club, and that's ultimately what he was done for. I think if he was on top form and banging in the goals like he did up until...
I was going to give you I thought of a comparison the other day. I'm sorry to jump across
you.
There was a point that I made the other day about who's taught this guy to manage. Pep Guardiola. Who did Pep Guardiola famously fall out with really badly at Barcelona? Ibrahimovic, right? Because he's a type of character. He's a type of attitude, right? And I reckon that some of his thinking has been born out of the tree that he fell from, which is Guardiola's tree. So that when I see a player, I don't care how good you are, who you are, if you don't fall in line with the bigger picture, right, I'm going to give you maybe a couple of chances, and if you don't get the memo, right, the next one that's coming your way is a drop kick.
But he wasn't playing at the top of his level anyway to make it a really difficult decision. That would have been more interesting.
But what if they're left short and he goes to Barcelona? They're left with Nketiah and Lacazette. That's not enough.
Well, he had scored more than those two, so that is an argument to a degree. But as I said, his general playing level was well below. So, and you could argue the turn in form when he didn't play. They had a good spell, didn't they, without him? I mean, I would be surprised if they were going to let him go without bringing someone through the door, Jim.
Well, they need to work at it.
I know, but
they need to work at it, and they've got to get a bend on. Yeah, sure.
But is it a gamble, is your opening question? It's a gamble unless you know that the direction of travel you're on with the people that you're working for, you have unequivocal support. If they've told him, right, you can make these changes, we back you, we are patient with you, we're going to give you time, so even if the wheels come off a little bit in the short term, we'll back you in the longer term, then it becomes, and I know people will say, well, but being backed doesn't mean anything, but we also know that the Arsenal boys do tend to stick with the management changes.
But it does mean something in the moment in terms of value. It does mean something in the moment,
sure.
Because what it says to the players and the squad is that he's our manager right now, and you're going to have to toe the bloody line.
Yeah, and that's the message.
The key.
Yeah.
Do you think Aubameyang goes before 11 o'clock to Barcelona? Do you think it's done?
I think he'll go. Yeah.
I've got a feling, Simon, in spite of the fact that Nketiah and Lacazette might be the only two left behind, I think he goes. I don't think there's any.
I like Nketiah.
Maybe. I mean, for me, it's not. I'm not really interested in Aubameyang. I think his time has been and gone. I think he's an irrelevance.
Yeah.
So with great scheme in mind, I look at Arsenal saying, okay, what do you do next, rather than what's the player doing? And I hope that Arsenal feel that they've got enough, because if they haven't, then they've made a mistake without an ability to resurrect the problems that they're creating by getting rid of him.
Well, he can either stick with Lacazette till the end of the season because he's out of contract, and Nketiah the same, or you can push Nketiah into the role and say, show us what you've got. You want to be the main man? Here you go.
Yeah,
because he's got the ability. Or you take a leaf out of Pep's book. You don't play with a 9.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the comparison you made, Simon, is spot on with Arteta and Pep. What Pep did, what we all saw Pep do with Ibrahimovic at Barcelona, this in some ways is a mirror image of what Arteta is doing with Aubameyang.
And don't forget, Pep did it to some extent with Aguero. But Aguero responded. Aguero came round to Pep's way of thinking, not the other way round.
Yeah.
And Aubameyang strikes me, from what we can gather from him, he's not going to come into anyone else's way of thinking. So send him off to Alonso.
Remember, I'll be back for the last hour of the window tonight. Alex Crook will be with me. It will be frantic. If this is anything to go by, so much late business is bound to be done. We'll be across the lot, and tonight's show will be streamed live on YouTube.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.